right, welcome everybody. I'm here with Jon Wiles from New Divide Construction. He's agreed to do a little interview with me here. We want to learn a little more about what New Divide Construction does, what kind of services they offer, and how they might be able to help you. If you are somebody who's looking to build a home, maybe you have a remodeling project, all kinds of things. I won't get into his pitch, that's his job. But we're going to talk to him here and learn a little more about New Divide Construction and what all we got going on. My name is Gene Sworry. I'm with BizBits. We are a small online marketing firm, but enough about that. Jon, how's it going?
Going good.
Great.
Friday's the lazy day. We get to sit in the office and catch up on paperwork.
There you go. Yeah, for sure. Tell us a little bit about New Divide Construction. What all is it that you do? What are the kind of jobs that you like to do? And who all are you helping out?
Well, first and foremost, the reason why this company is even here is we saw a need where employees were kind of left behind. They felt like a number. So we figured out if your employees are happy, that transfers to your customers. And when they're happy, they're willing to do the impossible. So
Right.
we can build you a house where nobody else said they could. We can remodel what other people say they can't. We'll figure out a way. And then the commercial side of life is exactly the same. The industrial side is exactly the same. We're kind of that impossible contractor, but we kind of tried to narrow in the field. So we have in-house engineering where we can draw your blueprints, get them stamped, get them approved through the state. And then we can transfer that right back to language where everybody understands it.
Awesome. Yeah, well, that's definitely helpful. Especially that I like the approach where you're focusing on the employees. So that's sort of your foundation of any business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We don't want to have that 500 employees that nobody knows their name. They're just that number. You know, we're a small group of guys, but everybody, if you got a problem at 2:00 in the morning, we're there.
That's awesome.
That's just the way a close-knit group seems to do better and work well together. They all know what the next step is.
Right. And that is huge. I mean, you see this so much in the industry today. There's so much disconnect between, getting the job done and the people who are doing the work. So to have that team / almost family oriented effect sure does definitely help out with making sure that the customer gets taken care of.
The one thing I've heard from my guys is they know at any given day, the boss is liable to be in the ditch shoveling right next to them. That's the reason why office is Friday day.
Yeah.
Monday through Thursday, we're in the field with the guys exactly the same. So nobody wears a suit and tie. Nobody's driving a Mercedes. We're in a work truck and we're right there beside you.
Yeah. Have you discovered yet in your line of work, is there a certain kind of projects that you sort of excel at? Are you gravitating towards anything in particular? Is there like your specialty at this point, or are you fairly wide open?
We have a remodeling crew that they have taken off on this remodel. They're excelling far more than I ever expected them to do. And that would be Justin Kepler and Brad. Justin's a PM for that side, the residential side, and Brad is superintendent. Between the two of them, I have yet to see a remodeling project that they can't figure it out.
Right.
As far as new construction, that's typical. Everything now is kind of a cookie cutter is what I like to call it. Once you get one set of plans, they're universal. We would prefer to do the custom building, but that gets costly.
Right.
So we're starting to be able to offer a variety. We can do the custom build or we can do the cookie cutter type house. On the commercial side, that kind of falls on me. I'm kind of known as that impossible guy. We're the crew that goes out and jacks up a 4-story apartment building and levels out the floors. And,
you've done that?
Oh, we got 3 buildings going right now in Charlottesville.
Oh, wow.
And we've got one in Ashburn, Virginia, where we're raising the foundations and pouring the concrete back underneath them, getting them all reinforced and supported. On the residential side in that, I've also got a house in Verona that we're doing that to that had water. They built a neighborhood directly behind this gentleman's house. The water tables, it changed the water pass, so his house started sinking. It actually sunk 2 inches on the west side of the house. So he noticed it in his kitchen when he was trying to fill up his sink. It wasn't full. It was pouring out the backside. So we're jacking that house up now and getting that one fixed. And there's another one in Fishersville where it's just, the house was built in 1876. It's just an old stone foundation and it's just deteriorating. So we're literally underneath the house in the crawl space and we're jacking it up no more than a 16th a day. And
Okay.
once we get it back up to level where it's supposed to be, we'll rebuild the foundation under the house and set it back down.
Awesome. That sounds very technical. There's probably not a lot of people that are just jacking up houses these days. So that puts you in sort of a.
It's that impossible job.
Yeah.
That's the ones that make me happy when I got to stop. And, when you make an engineer stop and scratch his head, you've got something going on.
Yeah. It feels good. And then I'm sure the sense of satisfaction of getting those jobs completed is pretty impressive.
Yeah. When we complete, I've done it several times. I mean, I've got 28 years of experience in iron work, foundation work, commercial, residential, and industrial all together. But when we finished our first one as this company, I took pictures and just went ballistic. I'm like, I can't believe we actually did it and nothing fell. It was party time. But it was a great feeling, and it impressed the company we're working with. They're based out of Seattle, Washington.
Oh, wow.
And they own the properties here, and they came and found us specifically to do this. After we did the first one, they were impressed enough that they released the other 4 buildings.
Oh, wow.
So,
that's impressive. That is impressive. And that gives you, I don't know, it makes you a little more special, a little more sought out probably for some of those types of things.
It's I deal with an architect out of Harrisonburg, and he's like, dude, you've got bragging rights.
Yeah.
Like, man, you went in, they were fixing to condemn this building and people were going to be homeless. And right in this middle of this coronavirus going on with this pandemic, you were able to meet all the safety requirements, come in with your mask, you had your ventilators going, your clean air was going. The people never even knew you were there until all of a sudden they came in one day and their doors were level again. And everything was working, and he was like, that's bragging rights, man.
Yeah, that's huge. Changing pace just a bit, going back, how did you get started in this industry? What led you to the construction industry, and how did you get your start here?
For the business or personally?
No, personally, like as far back, you've been in construction for a lot longer than you've had this business.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I fresh out of the Marines, I didn't have much really going on, but they taught me to weld and some other stuff. So I went to work on an oil rig in Louisiana off the coast.
Okay.
I worked there for 6 months. And when I came back, you only get one paycheck when you work on an oil rig. You get it when you come ashore.
Okay.
So they handed a 22-year-old kid a $90,000 paycheck. And I kind of had a really good time with life, I guess is the right way to put that. So I had to find another source of income. And I started with an ironworking company. Started doing steel, kept welding, and I kind of saw a need right out of the gate. There was a void between actual work and the engineering architectural side of it.
Right.
So that started me going back to college. And it was one class at a time until it took 13 years, one class at a time to get that degree. But my goal was to level the playing field between the guys in the field and the guy drawing the prints. Anybody can draw a straight line on a piece of paper, but to know what it takes to make that straight line actually look like a house.
Right.
I wanted to fill that void.
Right.
So it took a while to get it all into place, but then the good Lord stepped in and said, now's the time. And we found ourselves 2 days before the pandemic hit. We officially went into business, and it has been nonstop ever since. We're just with our safety and everything going on, we can come into your house with the proper gear, the proper cleaning, the proper ventilation, and work side by side with you and not be the problem, I guess is the right way to put it. We're not spreading it, we're working with it, and everybody lives to the standard. And when we walk away, we have yet to have a callback on anything that we have done. We stand behind our work. It's a 1-year warranty on paper, but if you've got a problem with something we did, I want to fix it. I don't want you to ever be unhappy with us.
Right. Yeah. Sounds good. Now, is there New Divide Construction? Is there some significance to the name? How did you pick the name?
So I had a friend of mine. He owns a plumbing company, Solutions Mechanical and Plumbing. He had a job. He needed some engineering done. And I told him, dude, I've got a job. I make good money. I sit at a desk. I'm happy. don't want, I don't want to leave what I've got. And he said, well, will you come look at the project and at least get me a bid so I can try to get it? So he convinced me after a month of doing so to come look at it. I got him his bid, and he called me a month later and said, hey man, I got that job. I said, really? Who's going to be your engineer? He said, I don't know. I don't have one yet. I was like, well, I gave him some names, some other things went, and then another month goes by. He calls me up and said, hey man, I know one of these isn't enough for you to leave what you're doing. How about I give you 12 of these projects? That kind of changed the ball game a little bit. That was enough revenue to step out and leave the comfort zone and step out in faith and really go at it.
Right.
And that was really our stepping stone. And that was in February of last year.
Okay.
So when I don't know that I ever really wanted to do this, but we knew there was a void, me and my partner.
Right.
We worked for a bigger company, and great company. I still send them work. They're a larger scale, so they can handle that $20 million project.
Right.
We don't have the employees to handle it.
Right.
We're in that $5 million range,
Right.
which is a safe place for us to be, being a new business. But we saw a disconnect between the office and the field. There was no open, the door was open. I don't want that to be taken wrong, but you were still just a number. You were still shuffled around and shifted, and you didn't have that teamwork where the next step.
Right.
Like my guys know if we're setting roof trusses, what size nails need to be in that gun before you even grab your gun. So everything, we wanted to build that disconnect and make it a solid bridge.
Right.
Then once we established that, then we added the next layer to the bridge and brought the customer to the same place that we are. That way everybody's on the same page. It's one football team going at the same project.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of everything fell in place, and we were able to fill that void. And that's kind of why this business even started.
So in a way, it's like a new divide from the typical way of doing things, and bringing a sort of a new approach to the industry, and making sure you have that strong connection between management and the employee and the production.
Oh yeah. And the name itself, this is just one of those moments, I guess, when David called me and said, hey, I got these 12 projects. If you want to do this, I need a contract by in the morning at 8:00. Well, I already have my contractor's license and other things in place where we could, just because I did side jobs, and I wanted to be legal. So it wasn't that big a deal, but I didn't really have a company name. And lo and behold, my 19-year-old daughter was at home, and she was listening to New Divide, or Linkin Park. New Divide was the song that was on the radio. And for some reason, when I said, honey, I need a company name, I need it now, I've got to write a contract if we're going to do this. And my daughter speaks up and goes, New Divide Construction, go with it and run. And so that's where the name came from. It was just I'm not going to say we were trying to make a statement or divide ourselves from others. It was all just timing. But in a sense, I've had a lot of people say, wow, you've really divided yourself from the competition. You should make that your logo. We're New Divide Construction. We're dividing ourselves from the other competition. And it's kind of stuck, and it's worked.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's impressive how those kind of things work.
Yep. I think that's that stepping out in faith moment, and scared to death. It's hard to leave a job where you make really good money and you're comfortable, to stepping out and starting a business. And then you get that other slap in the face that 2 days after you decide to do this, the pandemic hits, and you really get, oh God, here we go. I'm going back to work for somebody else. And it wasn't that way. We've been able to really excel.
That's impressive. That is impressive. Yeah, well, I think I've covered pretty much everything I've got to ask you. It's been very interesting talking to you. How do people get a hold of you?
There's several different ways. You can go on our website, New Divide Construction, or you can just Google NDC VA LLC. That'll come up, or you can shoot me an email. It's jwiles@ndcva.com, or you can give me a call. My phone's always on. It's on, like I said, I'll answer the phone at 2:00 in the morning. It's that way. It doesn't matter. If you got a problem, we'll answer. And that's 540-280-3303.
Okay. And I'm going to include all that information in the description of this video so people can just go down there and find that information as well. So that'll be easy for them to get a hold of you that way. Anything else you want to add?
We've just started a new part of our company. I started seeing a need where people are at home. They're not really able to get to the office. They're working from home. They're converting their houses to their office. They're adding additions, that type thing. So we're now offering financing up to a certain amount.
Okay.
It doesn't go through a bank. It doesn't go through Lendmark or a lender or anybody like that. We do everything in-house. We've got fairly low interest rates, but what we do ask is you make half of the total project. If it's a $30,000 project, give us a $15,000 down payment, and then we'll work out the payment plans over the next year to get you squared away.
Oh, wow.
And that seems to have helped out some people. And we've picked up, since we started it Monday, I actually have 3 new jobs.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. That's
Yep.
good. And you're doing that, looking out for others kind of thing as well, which that's always a great idea.
Well, it looks out for others. And honestly, if I can get a check coming in monthly,
Right.
it looks out for me as well.
Yeah, for sure.
But something else is pretty much everything we do is local distributors. We've got some really good guys that we get our equipment from, some really good guys we get our materials from, and we're committed to finding that best price. Even if it means our local distributors got to buy something from Seattle and
Right.
they get it shipped here, and we try, everything's done up front. We won't do anything without our customer approving it before we do it.
Right. Yeah, that's
Yep.
huge. Nothing like walking into your house after leaving the remodelers there for a day and finding out you have a door at the wrong place, or
That's
or
it.
at a
That's
place
it.
that you weren't expecting it to be, or anything like that.
Well, my wife did that just last night. She came home and the bathroom door was in the kitchen, so she didn't know what was going on. But before she went to bed, it was back where it was supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. Well, hey, it has really been a pleasure talking to you. I really enjoyed this little interview, and we're going to try to help get some more eyes on your business, get this out there, and people can look at this and scroll down to the description, find the way to get a hold of you, and at any rate, they find out more about you and get to see who Jon Wiles is.
Yeah. Well, don't let the appearances fool you.